My name's Jill Bodak. I'm an osteopath in the West End of Toronto. I'm an author, I'm a mom, I'm a person recovering from loss. Sometimes I describe my dad as an unstoppable force of nature. He was also the epitome of a Northwestern Ontario white dad. It's like a mix of incredible aliveness and capacity with like half-ton trucks and bad beer and a lot of gluten-filled food and lifting heavy stuff. And he loved letting me be wild. Like there was no too big or no too much or no too fast or no too hard when we were together. I was in the middle of a really great work day. I was finishing up with patients for the day and checking my phone and closing things down when I realized that I had missed several calls. And my dad, who was in his early 60s, had had a stroke on a ski hill in Kelowna, BC, in the middle of a vacation. The doctor said his brain would likely swell and he would die in the next 48 hours. Once my brother and my sister and I had flown to Kelowna, everyone sort of relaxed into this idea of like, we're just gonna be here at the bedside to watch this process take place for him. And then as we were waiting, it was so bizarre because it really didn't seem like he was dying. At one point, a researcher came. She was a doctor, but she was a part of a research team looking into stroke survivors. And I said to her, like, he would want to be dead. I know that in my whole soul and body, he wouldn't want this. And she said something to me that sort of reframed how I did the rest of my time with my dad, which was that the person who I knew, the one who would never, ever want to be in this bed, is gone. And the person that's here, this new, disabled, altered, dependent, uncertain person, he wants to be here. And she said, I know that that's true because he is. I sort of squatted down beside him and I really needed to know if he wanted to do this. And I said, Dad, do you know you're in a hospital? He said, yes. I said, do you know that you might die? He said, yes. And I was like, it felt cruel. It was so direct, but like, what other way could I ask him? You couldn't ask nuanced questions. It was just yes or no. And I said, Dad, do you want to quit? And he said, no. And I said, do you want to try? And he said, yeah. And like in that moment, it's like if you could feel my whole heart crack open and be like, okay, we're doing this. I had no idea what that meant. The next 2 years that he lived were constantly learning, ongoing, relentless learning about what it really means to live with brain injury, to survive stroke, to provide care. My dad and I were always close in a really task-oriented, physical kind of way. Playing hockey, building fires, chopping wood, catching fish. He didn't teach me things by telling me a lot about them. We were doing them. There was a kind of comfort in being in close proximity to each other, even though the tasks switched to me shaving his face or washing his body or feeding him food. That just felt like an extension of the same practices, the ease of being bodies together doing tasks. After my dad died, I went back to work and back to my own home and my young kid. I didn't have anything left to say to him at the end. There was nothing he didn't know. There was nothing he hadn't felt from me. We loved each other all the way through. And I still feel like if he walked in right now, I would hug him and say that I missed him, and we wouldn't have much to say. We would have a snack or sit down together. But what I feel in his absence is not how much I'm like him, but how much I am him. I am him in the ways that I love my son. I am him in the ways that I choose to do tasks and teach things. The way that I love is him. And I'm so thankful to him for showing me how to do that.